Conspiracy theories, eh? Wait till you get a load of this.
Hello, and welcome to Cracked Sisters Conspiracies. We're a podcast that covers conspiracy theories, mysteries, and all over spooky shit. My name is Cassandra.
And I'm Jackie.
And we are said sisters. It's fucking hot.
I'm sorry.
It's not just you.
The air's on.
It's hot everywhere.
I know. We went to the valley today because we did
We
did an escape room.
Oh.
And it was 101.
No.
And then just walking from the car into the very air-conditioned escape room, I almost died.
Yeah, I think I've established before that heat is one of my kryptonites.
Which is why I just got this fan.
I appreciate that because it makes me into an unrecognizable person when I am hot and uncomfortable. And it was like a switch flipped and all of a sudden summer was here.
Yeah, it's got real hot, real fucking fast.
But summer came later than it has in the previous years.
Because it started later. We didn't get cold until November last year.
That's true. Like the whole seasonal shift was off.
Yeah.
Because it was hot in like May last year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just within the last 2 or 3 weeks. Oh my God.
I blame El Nino.
El Nino. Huh?
I watched a video on it and I fell asleep, so I don't know.
Wasn't that like 20 years ago?
No, it continuously happens and there's forecasted one for next year.
Oh, that's like a reoccurring thing.
It can be, yeah. There's El Nino and then it's opposite, which is
La Nina?
something like that, actually.
That would make sense.
Yeah, that's the cold one.
Oh, okay. Now I feel kind of dumb. I don't recognize weather patterns. I was thinking it was like a hurricane, which first off, we don't.
No, it can cause hurricanes.
Sure.
But
everything has a name, but that's usually like Hurricane Maria. So I guess never mind, disregard because I'm stupid.
It's okay.
So today, our topic, we are going to be discussing subliminal messaging.
That's right. I forgot.
Yes. Do you think that you have ever been influenced by either layered sounds or images and things?
Like in movies and TV or
just on radio in the world?
I mean, I'm definitely a sucker for packaging.
I was going to say, I feel like I'm very susceptible. Like I would be probably a target audience.
Yeah. And if I see something online, normally I fight it, but it does get my attention. But like if I'm in a store and I want, let's say, an energy drink, I'll just look at the packaging and then I'll narrow down my choice from there. So even though it's trash sometimes, but I like packaging.
And it's like whether that's subliminal messaging or just really good marketing and advertising.
And then I do notice product placement in movies a lot, which just makes me angry. It makes me almost hate it versus like, oh, I kind of want that. Like Coke is like in fucking everything. So if you'll see it in like a Marvel movie or something, I don't know, I'm just pulling an excuse out of my ass, or an example. But I'll see it and I go, that's so obviously product placement because they have it turned just perfectly. And I'm like, I fucking hate Coke anyway, but now I hate it even more.
So that's one of the things that when I'm watching Ted Lasso, Nike is on everything. I'm like, I get that it's like probably a sponsor of the show. Well, I mean, it's a sports show.
There you go.
But I'll be watching and I'm like, there's Nike on everything. Yeah. It makes sense, but there'll be in the locker room Nike boxes, Nike on there.
Yeah, I don't think they're as slick as they think they are, or I don't even know if they're trying.
They're trying to be.
But at least try. I don't know. It bugs me.
So generally, like the first thing that I think of when I think of subliminal messaging is playing a record backwards and hearing it,
Satan?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, I have this memory of that, like what record, I couldn't tell you, and whether that's like what actually happened. I don't know. But that was like the first thing I thought of when I was initially thinking subliminal messaging. Another insta thought that comes to mind. Have you ever seen Fight Club?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you aware of the scene with Tyler Durden? So for those who haven't seen it, I don't know, spoiler alert, 20 some odd years later.
Yeah.
In his quest for never-ending chaos in the world, he is working in the projector room in a movie theater, and he ends up splicing a frame of a big old dick in a kid's movie. And then it then goes on to play in the theater, running the tape, and just a split-second flash of a big old willy on the screen. And it's one of those, the kids won't notice it. And like any adult that's in the audience is like, did I really see what I thought I saw?
Yeah, because it was like a millimeter of a second or something
so
like that.
Fast.
Yeah.
And so you're like, did I see that? Or am I just having intrusive thoughts? And like, I got dick on the brain.
That's a good example. Yeah.
So that's kind of what subliminal messaging is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a subtle way of putting thoughts into your brain and to kind of influence how you think or feel about certain things. So that's kind of the goal with those who use subliminal messaging.
Okay.
So there's some historical evidence all the way back to Greek times suggesting that people have been trying to impart subtle but pervasive language in like a down low manner in order to influence people. So this is going back to at least the 5th century BC, where people have been shady since the beginning of time, essentially, which is kind of sad, but people are garbage. And that just really supports that. But the concept really started to catch on in the mid 20th century.
Okay.
So back in like the 1940s, people really started to weave messages into radio, movies, TV. So pretty much as soon as they were able to push content out en masse to a lot of people and get information out there, they started messing around with the idea of like, what if we can influence their decision in one way or the other? So like even cartoons like Looney Tunes, like back in the 40s, they even tried that. So when Looney Tunes and I forgot what the alternate was called, but when it came around, that was more towards an adult audience. It wasn't really a kids thing.
Yeah.
But there was a particular short with Daffy Duck in it. And there was a very quick flash of the words "buy bonds" that flashed on the screen in the middle of this animated short. And that would not fly today. That's a big no-no. You cannot, like,
not for children's.
No, I mean just the whole buy bonds in general, like in the security world, you can't.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Like that. Oh, okay.
And so that was kind of wartimey-ish. They were trying to see if they can encourage people to buy war bonds and stuff.
Okay.
So they tried to weave that in. Whether it was successful in influencing people to do so wasn't clear, but that was just kind of like, let's see what happens. Let's dip a toe, so to speak. And so then in the late 50s, that's where it really started to kind of gain more traction. So there was a market researcher named James Vickery. I know it's not spelled the same way, but I immediately thought of him when I saw that. But he had performed what he referred to as his popcorn experiment.
Okay.
So like I said, market researcher. And the experiment that he performed was he wanted to flash the words "eat popcorn" and "drink Coca Cola" during movies just for a fraction of a second to see if it would influence the audience members and if it would increase the sales.
And this is in a movie theater,
in movie theaters, yeah. And if it would increase the sales of both of those products.
Okay.
So kind of interesting. And so it turns out it was all a bunch of bullshit, though.
Oh.
So his claims that it worked and that sales increased, completely unfounded. He admitted that he actually faked the study. And
that's also not, I wouldn't call that, people are going to go to the concession stand anyway, and they're already going to buy popcorn because it smells delicious. They're already going to buy a drink. So it's not really like, I don't want to say blind study, but there's like, it's already biased. It's not.
So that's something that we're going to kind of touch upon later. So that's something that someone already planned on doing.
Yeah.
And so it could have been that buy Coca Cola versus buy a soft drink. So that might have been where some of that influence was. So maybe trying to kind of weave in that buy the specific brand, you're thirsty kind of thing. But like I said, turns out it was all bullshit. Like it did nothing for sales, despite what his published research suggested. And it was that experiment that really started bringing kind of a negative outlook on subliminal messaging and its uses in general. So a lot of people are like, well, either it's completely bullshit or people are going to try to use it maybe for negative things. Like it was just kind of this cloud over the whole concept.
I don't really... Not knowing anything about it other than what you're explaining, I have a negative connotation to it.
Well, I'm of the mindset, be direct. If you want
I don't like trickery.
Yes, and that's what it is. And it's like you're trying to persuade people in a shady way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sit right with
It's
me.
very mind controlling.
That
I don't like it.
It is. And let me be my own person. I don't want to be a sheep.
Bitch.
Bah.
Okay.
And so, so this was in the 50s.
Mhm.
And so throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, they had started doing a lot of scientific studies, but they all generally ended up proving that the subliminal messaging efforts didn't have any impact.
Okay.
And the concept was kind of discredited overall.
Mhm.
So it's like they would run similar experiments, like try to flash either an audio clip or an image to try to provoke a certain response from people. And it was not having the desired effect.
Okay. Good for us.
Right.
As a species.
Yes.
Unless it takes a downhill turn.
No. So, I mean, by and large, it was essentially written off as something useful until probably the 90s and 2000s, where it kept doing research on the subject over time, because there were still people who had a mission to try to use it for their own benefit, not necessarily for the greater good. So in this additional research, they did start noticing that while it didn't have as profound of an impact on people, there was some connotation, like, okay, maybe there is a little
correlation.
Connotation, correlation, whatever, a C word, but there was some indirect impact on people's perception of things, rather than directly influencing their actions. So instead of getting them to buy a specific product, they realized that by weaving in either certain pictures or sounds could influence people's emotional state.
Okay.
So if you're exposed to a positive image or messaging, as an example, they found that people would tend to have a more positive energy and outlook when asked about things after. And the same is true for the inverse. So if you're like shown images or a video of someone in their daily life, and then there would be like a flash of a gray cloud or the word sad, the takeaway was once they were asked questions after the fact, they would have a more negative outlook,
that makes sense.
Tainting their answers. So it was more perception and emotional control, kind of, so to speak, versus do this, do that. So that was kind of like the history and the science behind where it originated. So let's take a look at some examples of subliminal messaging. And so it's something that is still regularly used in advertising, even though it doesn't have the same impact that they are trying to get out of it. They still try to weave things in. So an example that I thought this one was very interesting. So back in the 1970s, this is the days of the BTK killer. Okay. Quick digression. They canceled Mindhunter for real. It's not coming back. Really?
It was so great.
It was so great.
Aww.
And in the last season, they were starting to scratch the surface of BTK.
I never finished the last season because I didn't want it. I was waiting for another one so I could continue binging.
Okay, so they had introduced that case, and I wanted to watch it unfold. I mean, there's no end to it, but still.
They captured the BTK killer.
Did they?
Yes, they did. It was some dad. It was someone's dad. Hold on.
Really? While you do that, show was amazing.
Dennis Rader.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I had in the back of my mind that
they look like this.
That is like the spitting image of the guy that they used.
Which is probably why they picked it.
I know. The casting in that show, fantastic.
I know. Edward Kemper.
Oh my God.
That poor dude in a normal setting after that show. I would not trust him whatsoever.
Typecast as a serial killer for the rest of his life, but he did such a good job in that role. Oh my God.
BTK, by the way, was caught February 25th, 2005.
Oh, okay. So that was a long time after, because this was in the 70s.
Yes.
Is when that
he went on
going.
for a very long time.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. But okay, so this is back in the height of it when he was just getting going.
Do you know what BTK stands for?
It's bind something kill.
Torture kill.
Bind, torture, kill. Yes. I feel like that's a topic. We should do like a segue topic of just pick a serial killer and we'll.
Ooh, I like that. I love serial killers.
I know. It's like, it's not our traditional.
Maybe we'll do like a bonus
I mean, it can go into the mystery / spooky shit category.
Yeah.
We cover a broad range. We're expanding.
If you guys want us to pick a serial killer to like your favorite one,
yeah, give us your submissions and we'll look into
I will
it.
research the fuck out of it.
I mean, because we did Black Dahlia. I mean, we don't know who that was,
That's
but
true.
we investigated that whole that case. That was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, relatively speaking, it wasn't fun from its start. Okay, but back to BTA. So this was in the 70s and this was in Kansas. So there was a TV station in Wichita and they had gotten like the green light from the police department to weave in subliminal messaging into a report on the BTK killer, trying to persuade him to turn himself in.
Oh.
So it included the phrase very quickly, now call the chief, along with an image of a pair of glasses. And so the reason that they used the glasses was it was in relation to one of the victims. They had found a pair of glasses on the dresser at the scene of the crime.
Okay.
And they were hoping that it would make the killer feel remorse and turn himself in.
Okay.
It was not successful.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Especially considering it was like 35 years before that amounted to anything. So their efforts were unsuccessful.
But that is a good, I would be okay with you trying.
That's for the greater good.
I agree with that.
I mean, it doesn't.
Getting me to buy a fucking Coca Cola,
right?
That's annoying.
No, and
at least make it a Coke Zero.
I was gonna say I don't need that sugar content in my life, but Coke Zero, I'd be more likely to be persuaded. Oh, okay. So this one, let's kind of backtrack to my initial comments where I had mentioned like records, where if you play them backwards,
It was like Black Sabbath or something, wasn't it?
So Ozzy Osbourne did have some issues with that, but the one we're going to talk about in particular relates to Judas Priest.
Okay.
So this was in 1985. And so the story here, there were two young guys and they had been listening to the Judas Priest album, Stained Glass, and it contained a cover song called Better by You, Better Than Me.
Okay.
And so later on, these guys, they were young. They were like, I think 18 and 20 respectively. They had gone to a park to hang out in a playground because, and did you ever do that?
Yeah.
I mean, because usually
it just sounds funny nowadays.
It does. And
the amount of places I just went just to hang out, like malls.
Yeah.
You didn't even fucking shop. You just sat around and were literally loitering or parks or vacant lot.
Just driving around. Back when gas was $1.20 a gallon.
I used to drive around the valley with one of my friends just for hours. No place to go.
Yep. It was usually okay, who has the most gas in their tank or $20 in their pocket? Or you're driving.
Yeah.
So we're going to drive back and forth across town. Yeah, make intermittent stops at the park.
Or just driving to the beach. And then not staying and then turning around.
Yes. Oh my God.
Because the drive took fucking forever.
We would drive out to Malibu.
Yeah.
I remember doing that with Zach in his El Camino. And then it was always a question of, are we going to make it home? Whether we have enough gas, whether the car is going to overheat. I remember we, by the skin of our teeth, made it to the In-N-Out in Moore Park as smoke is pouring. Well, not smoke,
my God.
but like he was overheating. And so we had to it's
like 2 miles away.
I know. It was so bad. So we were there for like 40 minutes waiting for his car to cool down. I'm like, well, I got $10. You want a burger? But we were soaked because we had been gallivanting in the ocean. Anyhow, it was an easier time.
Those were good times.
It was, but not for these kids.
Yeah, sorry. They're getting murdered and shit.
Not that they were murdered, but like
Judas Priest, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was a song. That's okay.
Okay. We digressed a bit. But so these kids were hanging out, doing stupid shit as young folk want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And while at the playground, they both attempted to unalive themselves with a 12-gauge shotgun.
Oh my God.
One of them was successful.
Oh my God. Why would you do that at a fucking park? Like a playground.
Right? Because
where a child is going to find your fucking body.
At 8:30 in the morning when the stay-at-home mom with more kids
no.
and she knows what to do with. She's trying to get them out of the house and they're going to stumble upon the remnants of that. Have you ever come across an incident like that? Have you seen someone's hamburger meat left over? Oh my God.
A couple times.
More
than a couple times.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's gross. I try not to look if I don't have to, but sometimes it's my job to look.
Like I have a morbid curiosity, but I feel like if I saw that like for real in real
you
life.
kind of disassociate. The most recent one I had was a while ago, and fucking this dude, not to like bash on people who commit suicide, but this dude did not fucking think anything further than his immediate plan because he had his 2 fucking kids. It was his weekend. Like, you couldn't wait 2 days, bro. He had his kids, so his fucking 7-year-old and his 4-year-old found his body and then didn't know what to do. They told me, yeah, like his brains, I think, were out, which they very much were. And they ran to a neighbor, and the neighbor is the one that was able to call 911. But yeah, so his brains were like over here and over there. It's very interesting.
One of my colleagues, her husband is a handyman, and so he usually finds the saddest people in the world that need help. And so one of his clients that he's been doing a lot of work for is this single mom now. Her kids are now in college, but I don't remember how young they were. I think they were in middle school. But yeah, they found out that their dad had shot himself in the head. And so mom found him and she freaked the fuck out and didn't know what to do. So she screamed for her 2 young kids to come help hold the pieces together. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, as she's telling me this story, I am just flabbergasted.
Oh my gosh.
I can guarantee my immediate response would not be, hey, Gracie, come help me
hold your dad's head back together.
Come help me with this situation.
Oh my gosh.
It would be like,
I know. I mean, you never know how you're going to react
I like to
in a situation
that I would keep my shit together. I honestly don't know. I hope I never find out. But
I have responded real quick to one call. I actually don't think I responded. I just heard about it. But this guy, A+ for planning. He drove elsewhere to like an area that not a lot of people would find his car. And I believe he shot himself. And he put a note on the window that said, I'm really sorry to any responding units and first responders who have to find me. Like, I know this is just as traumatic for you and I'm really sorry, but I'm in here by myself. I intended to do this. It only had 1 bullet in it. Like, it was very, very well thought out.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm too much of a chicken shit to do something like violent. Like,
that's a male thing.
It must
very
be.
seldom do women choose.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be give me a bottle of pills, and
I heard
chase it with
taking pills and then putting a bag over your head is like a pretty peaceful way to go. Because you it's like a euphoric. Please don't kill yourself, but it's like a euphoric state, and then you just go to sleep.
I mean, that would be ideal. Like, but I have no intentions of killing myself. Although, I mean,
what do you mean, although?
No, I can guarantee every single one of you has had that fleeting thought of like, what would I do?
How would I do it? And just like, how are you going to murder someone?
Exactly. So we all have these thoughts, but they don't come to fruition most of the time.
Okay, so Judas Priest guy killed himself.
So one of them was successful. The other one was not. He left significant damage. So he fucked himself up.
Oh, did he shoot himself?
They both shot themselves.
Oh, I thought you meant one chickened out.
No. Only one of them was successful.
Did he shoot himself in the stomach or the chest?
No, he shot himself in the face. It missed the important part. So then he had to deal with the aftermath. And it wasn't until 3 years later, due to complications from all of these self-inflicted wounds, that he ended up passing. So bringing it back to Judas Priest and subliminal messaging.
Yes.
So the families ended up suing CBS Records, which is the label that Judas Priest was under, for a couple of $1 million. And they claimed that the song that they had listened to contained the subliminal message saying, do it, which urged the listeners to kill themselves.
That would be an interesting lawsuit, actually.
Right? So the suit ended up getting thrown out because it turned out not to be a thing. But in mainstream and hysteria, that all caught on. And it became a thing around the country for a hot minute. Well, actually beyond the country, because it impacted Ozzy Osbourne and like 2 Live Crew for the same exact reasons. There were instances of suicide, which they claimed was due to subliminal messaging in records that they had listened to.
Okay, that's how it all got started. Because I only knew about Ozzy Osbourne. I didn't know how it got started or why it was started, but that makes sense.
Yes. So it turned out not to be a founded thing, but that just helped to perpetuate the negative.
It's almost like the subliminal message of there being a subliminal message for the subliminal message.
Like
Inception shit.
Yeah. That was the darkest example.
Bring it back up.
Right? Okay. So you can't really have messaging of this type without it impacting the political sphere.
Okay.
So in 2000, during the fight for president between Al Gore, the creator of the internet, and George.
He was trying to run for president?
He was against George W. Bush. So Gore had accused the Republican campaign managers of using subliminal messages in an attack ad against him.
I believe that 100%. Campaigns
Absolutely.
are dirty.
They really are. Oh my gosh. And so like for a fraction of a second in this particular ad, again, it was Republican against the Democrats against Gore. It flashed the word rats right before the rest of the word bureaucrats appeared on the screen. And so I ended up finding it online. And I mean, knowing that that's what I was looking for, it is pretty clear that for like half a second, it did only show the rats portion of bureaucrats.
Okay.
But to be fair, I don't think I would have noticed it if it wasn't something that I was looking for. But if you're the opposing side of the campaign, you're going to be dissecting all of the different ads that are coming from the enemy, so to speak. Bush ended up winning the election, as we all know.
Didn't know that.
And then, 9/11 happened. But maybe it worked a little bit because Gore did not end up becoming president. Okay, so the last example that I'm going to bring up, this one was sneaky, but I give it a lot of props for being creative.
Okay.
So, smoking is a big no-no.
Smoking cigarettes?
Smoking cigarettes. And over the last, decade or two, it's not a thing anymore.
No.
Like, you can't smoke anywhere without...
And it's not as... socially acceptable.
No.
And I feel like people don't want it as much because they have vapes and they don't realize vapes is literally the same thing. But
right. Yeah. You're still doing harm to yourself. There's still the addictive nicotine in there. It's just, you're not burning something.
Yeah.
But see, with vapes, it doesn't have that same smell. I fucking love the smell of a burning cigarette. But I think it was just because I was conditioned to that smell because of Evan.
Probably.
So I associated it with him.
Yeah. I don't like cigarette smell.
I mean, when I catch a whiff of it now, like I don't have that same reaction, but it's that first initial.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I have a Pavlovian response to it.
Start salivating.
So glad that he stopped smoking when he did.
Yeah.
Because, it was super awkward when I was pregnant and he's like, hey, can you run down while you're out and go?
I remember you telling me that.
So it was really uncomfortable. And then, this woman in line gave me shit. She's like, well, what are you doing to your baby? I'm like, fuck off.
Oh, no.
But it's a non-issue now. But anyway, so smoking, it is not socially acceptable. It's not a thing. And advertising for smoking is definitely not a thing anymore because, it causes cancer and kills its client base.
Yeah.
But that was not going to stop Big Tobacco from trying to
They were sneaky as fuck.
Yes, to weave in messaging and trying to encourage people to keep buying their products to get them hooked until they die. So Formula One racing, they generate ad revenue by advertising on the cars that participate in the races.
Okay.
So you'll see logos and emblems. It's typically very clear what it is that you're looking at.
Yeah.
But what Marlboro,
I know, I can't say
Marlboro man.
I think you have to Marlboro.
Anywho, they were a sponsor for one of the Formula One cars that was in this particular race.
Okay.
And instead of putting their logo and label on the car, which they wouldn't have been able to do. Here, I have a picture pulled up. You can kind of see what it looks like. They got creative with what they did, and they ended up using a barcode style design. So when you're looking at it straight on, it just looks like lines, but it's designed for when it's going
moving
fast. It looks like the Marlboro image.
That's cool.
See, that was my reaction. I'm like, that's bad, but it's also super fucking cool. And that was whoever thought of that. Genius.
Get a raise. That's good.
Genius. So yeah, when they're flying around at crazy speeds, you're like, man, I could use a smoke right now.
Yeah.
So like I said, it was pretty cool, but also pretty awful. But so those are different ways that it's used. So whether it's in political ads, whether it's in marketing campaigns, whether it's thought to be used in media and entertainment, which it was not proven to be
correct. Successful,
and also in attempts to use it for good to get out to the masses to try to lure in and serial killers. People do use it in some regards.
Prior to,
Yeah.
I have two examples.
Absolutely. There, what you got?
So I don't necessarily know if this counts, but I think it does. So grocery stores, everything about, I just saw a video on this, which actually is really funny that you mentioned this. So grocery store, everything about them is specifically designed in order to get you to do something. They have the music. It's been proven that if you play louder, kind of annoying music, you'll make more unhealthy purchases versus soft, melodic music. You'll make healthier choices, which would make sense why, like,
because it's like Yogi.
Whole Foods plays like, the banjo or fucking something, and then Vaughn's plays hits on the radio.
Yeah, I'm like,
I buy shit at Vaughn's.
Yeah, it's like, have you ever been shopping at an Albertsons or Vaughn's at like 9:00 at night and they're
it's bumping sometimes. I'm like, this is my jam.
So I get lost in it and I'm like, yeah, this looks good. Just pulling shit off the shelves.
Sneaky.
And the shit that they put on end caps just to lure you in.
They put sugary cereals with cartoons at children's eye level, and they'll put healthier, more adult promoted stuff at adult level.
The grape nuts are so fucking
because who the fuck wants grape nuts? No, you want your kids to run through the store.
I want grape nuts. I want those delicious rocks in my mouth.
Wait, what the fuck is a grape nut?
You don't know what a grape nut is? It's like a barley cereal. It's like a hard little nugget of deliciousness. Oh my God. But it's essentially like chewing on gravel. That is this.
Wow, that sounds great.
I don't know what it is about it, but it makes me so happy. But the flip to that, because I can't fucking reach the box of grape nuts
because they presumably put shit no one wants. Very like gravel cereal, very high up.
I mean, and I am also smaller than the average bear. I am short, I think.
So you are short. So you would probably get like the kids section.
I would. Do you know how many times I've had to wrestle a giant family size box of fucking Lucky Charms out of my kids' hands?
And then you mentioned end caps. So customers often think that because a food item is on display at the end of the aisle, that the price is reduced. However, end caps drive increased sales, even if the price is the same as usual.
I've noticed that just because it's there and they're like highlighting it doesn't mean they're highlighting the sale. It's just highlighting the product itself.
They do the buy one, get one free promotion because they know you're a sucker for a good fucking buy one, get one.
Yeah, and usually like the prices that they list, the list price versus whatever the sale price is, the sale price is what the true price is. Fucking assholes.
Supermarkets, obviously, they have impulse buys. So at the register, you have all the candy, the gum, the energy drinks, the magazines. They have that stuff because you're just standing there waiting in line anyway. So they're like, you're probably going to buy it because you're bored as shit.
And it's doubled down when you have kids.
Yeah.
Because
you're also standing.
Shut the fuck up. Put the bubble tape on the belt. I don't care. Just
Hubba bubba.
So no, I know. Like this is a thing with my child. I have a rule. We will not buy her fucking Hubba Bubba bubble tape or whatever anymore. She has to use her own damn money.
It's trash anyway. It tastes like fucking chalk.
It is garbage.
And it comes apart in your mouth. It's not even consistently gummy.
No,
it's literally just shred.
But for a 7-year-old, she loves it. So it's either that or fucking Kinder eggs.
Yeah, she does really like a Kinder egg.
But bargain.
But do you not remember when at least I was a child and you're with mom and dad, mostly mom, and you're in the line and you're waiting and you're looking around and those fucking what were they called? They were spheres. And they had candy inside or a mystery inside. The mystery balls.
Yes.
Do you not remember going fucking feral over those?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think you can sell them anymore because they're illegal because all the kids were children.
Yeah, whatever. That's beside the point. That is our equivalent of Kinder eggs.
Yes. Or, throughout I'll be going down the health food aisle or whatever. And then they have the little kids' toys on the clips.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm a good sucker for those clips. I've gotten a lot of shit from there.
I have so much
like chip clips or ping pong balls. I'm like, I'm playing beer pong in a week. I need these.
The amount of apologies I owe our parents as my life as a parent evolves.
I'm not there yet.
Because every word out of my child's mouth is, I want.
I need.
The meltdowns. I'm like, we are at the grocery store. We are here for food, not toys.
We did that to them.
I know.
Sorry, mom and dad.
I apologize. You're the best. I don't know how you put out the best.
And then lastly, for the grocery store, the layouts. I don't have that one pulled up, but they have the fresh produce first to kind of draw you in, and then they move around shit so that the checkouts are at the absolute end. You have to go through everything for the most part in order to get through the checkouts. They don't want you to just grab your fucking carrots and leave. They want you to snake. They want you to fucking work for it and then go, oh, do I really need this? Yes, I do.
I deal with that with milk. I'm like, milk is like the one thing.
And it's in the back. So they do that.
I have to traverse the whole
shit that milk, eggs, the shit that you would normally like, oh, I just need this. I ran out really quick. It's a staple item. Mm-hmm. They make it not easily accessible. Flour. They make it so you have to go through the store so you're willing to
you're more exposed
to buy other shit while you're only there for 1 fucking gallon of milk.
And so whenever I only need one thing, I'm like, I will go out of my way to go to the store before I pick up my kid because I don't want to bring it with me because I'm going to end up with $50 worth of stuff when I only needed a $2 thing of milk.
And I was thinking about this the other day because I wanted to make brownies and I didn't have brownie mix. And I'm like, oh, I'll use cake mix because I've seen that you can make it. But then I'm like, I don't have milk. I don't have eggs. I don't have anything. So I'm like, I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to buy a box of brownie mix. And that is all I fucking need. Did I do that? No. And I thought, man, one day I would love to be as strong to just like go and get the one item you need and not 25 other items.
It's very difficult. The like only time I'm successful acquiring one item is when I'm going in for a handle of alcohol.
I mean, I did that today and I came out with 12. So
that's fair. Okay, you bought one category.
That's true. You know what? I'll take that.
You stayed in your lane. Do you have anything else on your list?
And then I remember something about Slender Man.
What?
But I just remembered it now, so I haven't looked into it. So that's about as far as it goes.
Alrighty.
But otherwise, that's all I have.
But so it's something that we all kind of are aware of the tactic, and it exists. And like I said, for a multitude of reasons is how it's used. But at the end of the day, subliminal messaging is not terribly effective. Yeah. Especially when it comes to sales and influencing.
Kind of a waste of time.
Yeah. So because if a person wasn't already planning to do the thing or buy a thing, it's unlikely that they're going to be like, oh, I was watching a movie, something flashed about Coca Cola, and now I'm going to go out and buy a bunch of soda.
Yeah.
It's more a marginal influence. Like, man, I'm really thirsty. I need to go to the store or run into 7-Eleven to get something to drink. And I had seen something that had a flash with Lipton iced tea. So I'm going to get a Wrist Baby instead of a soda or whatever.
I think the only movie that's probably in the history of the world been successful at this, whether it was their intention or not, is Parent Trap. The Oreos and the fucking peanut butter. Because everyone wants to know what it fucking tastes like.
That's true.
That's the only time I've ever thought I should try that after seeing something.
I wonder if Nabisco was behind that.
And is that who makes Oreos?
Yes.
I thought it was Nestle.
99% certain.
I'm not certain at all, so we'll go with that.
And peanut butter, whatever big peanut butter company, you name it. But yeah, so at the end of the day, it's not as super useful of a tool as people hoped it would be, but there is some influence there.
Okay.
So it certainly doesn't stop people from trying. And
That's
like
true.
I said, if nothing else, it brings out the creative side of people. I'm still blown away by the whole
that was really good
barcode ad. That was pretty cool. But so that's what I got on subliminal messaging. It was interesting to kind of take a peek at that.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are you thinking for your next topic?
I would say if we want to keep on this track, I don't know if we want to divert or kind of keep going. If we were to stay with it, I would say Mandela effect.
Oh, yes. That one was one of the options. Okay.
Otherwise, reincarnation stories.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which one do you want to hear more about?
I mean, honestly, it could go either way. Like, we're going to cover both of them at some point. Mandela is top of mind, but reincarnation is interesting.
Maybe I'll do reincarnation. Spice it up a little bit.
And just kind of divert a little bit. Maybe we'll come back to something. Mandela.
Yeah, let's do that.
I like that already. So I think, do you have any idea what episode this will be when it's posted?
Yeah, this will be.
Because we're definitely in the double digits.
Look here, actually. Oh, yeah. I think this is maybe
this big. No, because I think we just posted 14. So today, the day of recording is July 18th, which is a Tuesday. We release a new episode every Tuesday. And that was Biggie Smalls.
Okay, so let me check then. Hold on. So we are up to 17. This will be episode 18.
Okay. So we are, you know what, we maybe should think of something for our 20th to,
Ooh.
maybe something a little more special or outside of the norm. Just kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah. And if anyone wants to give us suggestions of what, like something big, different that you want us to cover that you maybe didn't necessarily think fell within our realm, but you still are super passionate about, we would love to hear that.
Yeah. It's like, we don't need to stay within the confines of our intro.
Yeah.
We're liking the idea of kind of branching out and exploring different options.
Yeah.
So definitely reach out to us on our various social media platforms. The best bet to get a hold of us is going to be through Instagram, Craft Sisters Conspiracies. You can shoot us an email, though I don't know who uses email outside of like actual business
people.
but it's craftssistersconspiracies@gmail.com. We have a Facebook, we have a Twitter, but that's more so just for
just to say we have one.
Just for the existence. We have a Patreon, which we've been adding more exclusive content to.
Our videos,
the behind the scenes, all of the unedited stuff. I think the intro level is $1 a month, and we have a couple of different service models there, but you get various access to things. So that's patreon.com/cracktsistersconspiracies. But so we encourage you reaching out. We thank everyone who has come along for the ride. Our listener base has been increasing steadily.
It has,
which is super fun to see. And we're permeating all of the different, that's a gross word. We are expanding across the globe. But so with that, stay cracked, y'all.
And have a great day.